In this video, I'm going to be talking about how important it is to partner or work with a mortgage lender if you are trying to sell your house for sale by owner without using an agent. When most people list their house for sale by owner, all they really know is they don't want to pay a real estate agent a commission for something they might be able to do themselves, which if you're watching this is likely what you're looking to do as well. But what most people don't realize is how beneficial it is to still have a real estate professional in the way of a mortgage lender in your corner assisting you throughout the process. And when I use the words working with one or partnering with one, I'm not talking about paying a mortgage lender to help you, because all the benefits to you of how a lender can help you sell your house are completely free, and you're not gonna have to pay anything for them. So let's get into the two major things that a lender can do for you. Number one is fairly obvious, is they can answer a whole lot of questions for you. There can be a lot of very small, intricate things throughout the home selling process that you may not be aware of, and you may not be able to find an answer online so easily. Or maybe the answer just isn't obvious. Some of these questions might include, who draws up a purchase contract? How do you even go about drawing up a purchase contract? Does the buyer do it? Does the seller do it? What do we need to include in the contract? What is a title company? How do we and who orders title from the title company? Do we need to use an attorney? If we do, how do we go about finding an attorney? What is a settlement agent? And how do we go about finding one of those? And 1,000,001 other things that could possibly come up, or some things you really don't know the answers to at this point. The benefit of working with a lender, of course, is they're going to know all the answers to your questions, but not only that, they're going to know how those questions specifically work with your situation. So don't underestimate having somebody in your corner to be able to answer those questions for you. The second thing that a lender can do, and I would argue is actually more important than the first one, is pre-approving potential buyers for you. And there's a multitude of reasons why you're going to want to work with a lender to help you do this. The obvious one is going to be you don't want to show somebody your house unless they have a pre-approval letter yet. And the reason you don't want to show anybody your house if they don't have a pre-approval letter yet is because you don't know if, number one, they can actually afford your house, and number two, you want to know that they're actually serious about buying. Because if someone's willing to take the time to talk to a mortgage lender, have their credit pulled, and get a pre-approval letter, that person is serious about buying a house very soon. And it's for these couple of reasons that when somebody calls up a real estate agent and says they want to look at a whole bunch of houses, they're going to ask them one question initially. That question is, are you pre-approved yet? Because the buyer has to take that step before they can go see houses. You should operate in the same manner so that you're not showing a bunch of people your house that can't buy it or aren't serious about buying. You're going to spin your tires, a lot of headaches, you're going to pull your hair out, it's going to be a nightmare. So the first thing that you need to do when somebody inquires about buying your house is asking them if they have a pre-approval letter. If they do have a pre-approval letter from a mortgage lender up to the amount you're selling your house for, then that's awesome. You can proceed with that person who now you know is a qualified and serious buyer. But if they don't have a pre-approval letter yet, it's very important to have an option for them to go to. And there's a lot of reasons for this as well, but the most important thing that you want to consider selling your house is that you are essentially the real estate agent for your own home now. By taking on the responsibility of selling your own house, you're signing up to be a salesperson, and you really have to act accordingly as such if you're going to be successful doing it. So you want to have an option already in your back pocket, so when that buyer needs to talk to somebody to get pre-approved, they can go to the person that you know, so then ideally they'll come back to you with their pre-approval letter to then go and look at a house. Because if somebody calls you and they say they're not pre-approved yet, once of course you ask them that question, and you say, okay, great, well go get pre-approved, then come back and talk to me, you are now taking a nice warm lead that's interested in buying your house, and you're throwing it back out into the market having no idea what is going to happen afterwards. Like for example, if you hired a real estate agent to sell your house, somebody calls that real estate agent up and says, hey, I want to see the home. Your agent says, okay, are you pre-approved? They say no. Then the agent says, go get pre-approved, then come back and talk to me. As the seller of the house, you would be pretty frustrated that your real estate agent just took a warm buyer and threw them right back out on the street, not knowing if they're ever going to come back or not. So as the seller, since you are essentially the agent representing the sale of your house, you should operate exactly the same. Because I'll tell you what's going to happen to that buyer as soon as you say, go get pre-approved and then come back to me. Is they're going to say, okay, that's a great idea, I should get pre-approved. They go out, find a lender, talk to a lender, get pre-approved, right? But now that lender is going to ask that buyer now if they're working with a real estate agent. That person is probably going to say no because they've been looking at for sale by owner listings, which is how they found you. And typically real estate agents don't push for sale by owner listings because the sellers don't want to pay a commission to them. So what that lender is going to do is tell that buyer that they should work with a real estate agent because 99.9% of the time, the buyer doesn't have to pay the real estate agent's commission. It's typically split between the seller and the buyer's broker. So now that buyer is like, yeah, you know, I should work with a real estate agent now to at least have somebody in my corner helping me buy a house. And they're gonna take their new pre-approval letter and they're gonna go to the agent that their mortgage lender now referred them to. That agent's gonna put together a list of a whole bunch of properties that that buyer might be interested in. And now that they're pre-approved, they're gonna start going on a whole bunch of showings, and your property, since it's a first sale by owner listing, is not gonna be on that list. So what you've successfully done is lost a warm lead by not having an option for them to go to. So obviously the best thing to do is work with a lender so that when someone says they are not pre-approved, say, okay, awesome, I got this lender that I talked to, here's his contact information, give him a call, he'll be able to get you a pre-approval letter pretty quickly. Once the lender that you're working with talks to the buyer, pre-approves them, they'll notify you, hey, this buyer is pre-approved now, go ahead and schedule a showing. But the last thing you want to be doing as a seller is wasting warm leads when you have them, because the more interested buyers you have in your property specifically, the higher of a price that you can demand for your house. So do yourself a favor, work with a mortgage lender to help you qualify buyers to sell your house, and it is going to make the process so much better for you. And additionally, you're going to raise your chances of successfully selling your house by yourself, because the vast majority of people who try to sell their homes by themselves fail to do so and need to hire an agent to sell afterwards. Over 90% of people who try to sell their house by themselves will fail to do so. And the biggest thing that you can do to keep yourself in the 10% that successfully do is working with a lender. And if you're interested in finding out more about how a mortgage lender can help somebody sell their house by themselves, feel free to reach out and I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you have. I hope this video helped. Thank you very much for watching, and best of luck with your upcoming home sale.